Okay, hello, all out and abouters, YouTubers, social media family, biological family, extended family, and everybody that is going to be under the sound of my voice and hearing this review. This is Anjanette Potter, also known as Adam's Rib, and this is my review of the Dublin, Ohio July 4th celebration featuring artists Chaka Khan and Michael McDonald. So here's a little bit of background on both artists. Both of them were actually the lead singer, ironically, for two groups that were very famous in the 70s. Chaka, of course, if you're a Chaka fan, you know that she was the lead singer for Rufus, that eventually evolved into Rufus featuring Chaka Khan. So she is from Chicago. She was born March 23rd, 1953. Her birth name is Yvette Marie Stevens. She has been in the business for nearly 5 decades. She's the oldest of 5 children. Some little known facts about Chaka. Now this is when you know you are like a real die-hard fan of hers. In I think it was the 70s, there was a group called Undisputed Truth, and her sister her sister Yvonne, also known at that time as Taka Boom, was a lead singer for them. Her brother Mark Stevens was also a member of the group Aura. If you remember, Aura's biggest hit was "Are You Single," and they also had a song I think called "Make Up Your Mind," but their biggest hit was "Are You Single." Chaka joined the Black Panther Party in 1967. A lot of people thought that that's where she got the name Chaka, because remember, her actual name is Yvette. And she is quick to correct that. She actually took the name Chaka Adun Aduf Hadari Karifi at age 13 from a Yoruba Baba. Now, a Baba is a sort of spiritual father. They're actually a Yoruba priest and sort of a spiritual father figure. The last time I heard the term Baba was on a show that was on OWN. One of their shows where they were trying. I can't remember the name of the show, but they were putting couples together. So as they started to really pair off, the one guy took the girl to meet his Baba. And so that was the first time I'd heard the term, but it's a Yoruban term for priest. She was also a member of a few other groups before Rufus. She formed a group called the Crystalettes at the age of 11 years, so she's been at it a long time. She also joined a group called Baby Huey and the Babysitters. And then she joined Rufus, replacing a singer named Paulette McWilliams. So after a few years with Rufus, she decided to go solo, and her first solo album was called Naughty in 1980. And the rest is history. I think she finally was like solo around, I'd say about 1984, probably when she had released her 6th solo album is when she knew she was like not going back to Rufus. So a little bit of background on Michael McDonald. He was born February 1952 in St. Louis, Missouri. He's known for being the former lead singer of the band the Doobie Brothers from the years 1975 to 1982, and then he rejoined them in 1987. Before that, and I didn't know this until I did my research tonight, he was a member of Steely Dan in 1974 before the Doobie Brothers. Now, Michael McDonald is what we call blue-eyed soul, and as I go on other artists, I'm thinking about on my radio show Station Head, Eclectic Weekends, doing an entire night on Blue Eyed Soul, but that's going to be like on further on. Anyway, Blue Eyed Soul, if you're not familiar with the term, is R&B that is performed by white artists. It's a term that was coined in the 1960s. There are a few artists that were around at that time, like the Everly Brothers, and the Righteous Brothers, who are known for Unchained Melody, were considered to be Blue-Eyed Soul. Another few artists that are known are Daryl Hall and John Oates, also known as Hall and Oates. Average White Band, Wild Cherry. So those were 70s bands, but the coin was originally done in the 60s. So Michael McDonald played before he was discovered, he played with a lot of local bands, notably Mike and the Majestics, Jerry Ray and the Sheratons, the Reeb Tours and Younger Brothers, and a group called The Guild. He was discovered while he was playing with a band called Blue, and that's when he decided to move to Los Angeles to pursue his career in music. So around 1974, he became a member of Steely Dan's touring band. So he sang lead and backing vocals and recorded on some of their hits like Kathy Lied, The Royal Scam. Kathy Lied was in 1975, The Royal Scam, which was 1976, and another song called Aja, AJA, in 1977. By the time 1975 rolled around, he was recruited by the Doobie Brothers to be a temporary replacement for their lead singer, Tom Johnston, who was out due to an illness. He did so well in that gig that they decided to bring him on full time. And so he was with them for a little while, actually a long while. He was with them for a while because when he was doing some of their hits on the 4th, I was like, okay, well, he's been with them a minute, because I can remember him singing lead on some of the songs they had, like Taking It to the Streets and different, some of their biggest hits. And I was like, okay, so he was with them for a minute. Anyway, he released his first solo album in 1982 with Warner Brothers. So he was a label made of Prince before Prince came out with Paisley Park. And actually, Paisley Park was, I think, a bit of a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. So it was not quite Prince's. It was Prince's own label, but Warner Brothers was still in there, if that makes any sense. So, like I said with Chaka, of course, once they did the solo thing, the rest is history. He had quite a fits like I Keep Forgetting, On My Own, which he did as a duet with Patti LaBelle. I'm trying to think. He did I think around the 2000s, he did a Motown album and everything, but he's been around a very long time. He's also married to a singer that I just heard of. Oh God, what was her name? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'll post all of that information on the blog as well. But his wife is also a famous singer that has been around for about 30 years. And so, I listened to, while I was, putting together my review and everything, I was listening to, let me look here. Let me go ahead and look. Oh, I can't do it. But her last name is Holland. Her last name is Holland, but I can't remember her first name. It just escaped me just now. But she had a song about How Can I Survive, or something like that. Now, of course, some of y'all may have heard of her and everything. And if you hear this on YouTube, you can kind of comment and let me, and, kind of remind me, or if you comment on my blog, Out and About, you can kind of, jog my memory and everything. So now we come to my thoughts about the celebration. This is actually my third time going to a concert here. The first time I went to see Kenny Loggins, and the second time I saw oh Lord, Smokey Robinson. Both times the show was really good. It's a nice venue. It's actually Dublin Kaufman High School's stadium where they had it, and they also had fireworks at the very end of it and everything. Once Michael McDonald went on and they did their finale, Chaka brought Michael on stage while she was performing, and then Michael brought Chaka on stage once, and then they did the finale where they brought her background singers and his band and people, and they all performed together. I have really nothing bad to say about it. I mean, Chaka brought it. I thought about it and I was like, man, I would go and see Chaka do the alphabet. So I've been a fan of Chaka's since, I don't think I've ever not been a fan. Both of them, I have been fans of theirs. I won't lie, I mainly went to see Chaka. I'm a bigger fan of Chaka's than I am of Michael McDonald's. Although I enjoyed both of them. They both did an excellent show. They had the crowd rocking. Now they had a band the opening band was really good too. If I can find any information on them, I will post it on the Out and About blog. About them and everything. They were, to me, the first band that came to me. If you're listening to me, I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Scritti Politti, but they kind of reminded me of a cross between them and Maroon 5. And if you've heard of Maroon 5, Adam Levine from The Voice. That's his band. He's the front man for them. And they kind of had, I'm trying to think, it was another white band that they kind of reminded me of, but those are the two that mainly came to me when it came to their sound. But they were really good, and like I said, if I can find, he said his name, but he said it so fast till I was like, I'm gonna have to look this up later. So both of them, everybody was on point. Like I said, I've been a fan of both performers since they were with their respective bands. This is actually my third time seeing. This is either my second or third time seeing Chaka, because I remember seeing Chaka a long time ago when she was fronting for Rufus. And so, I was, a little kid then, and I remember having one of her albums. My mom has several of her albums, so I got a chance to play her stuff to death. Michael McDonald's, I've been a fan ever since he was with the Doobie Brothers, and like I said, I just found out tonight when I was doing my research on him that he was actually with Steely Dan as well. And Steely Dan was a favorite band of mine back in the day. They had a lot of songs that I like. The venue itself was nice. I have to say, this time I had a little bit of a better. I had a good time both times when I went to see him before. I kind of liked this a little bit better because I was able to set up in the bleachers. I highly recommend this if you have a chance, if you're in the Columbus area celebrating the 4th, or you come to see family or whatever. I highly recommend going to this festival if you get a chance to go to it. It's very reasonably priced. I wound up actually being able to get a wristband that day for like $5. And I mean $5, and you get to see, and we got to see 2 musical icons. We actually got to see 3 bands because they had an opening band, I think that was, I can't remember if they were local or not, that got to open for them. So they were like, everybody was like really good. So you're getting 3 bands for $5, and 2 of the people performing are musical icons with careers that span almost as long as I've been alive, which is 52 years. They are out on tour right now. So I will be posting the dates for the rest of the tour, because I think I think one of the dates is here in Toledo, Ohio, if they haven't performed already, and the other one is in Detroit, Michigan. So the next couple of dates are going to be like near the Ohio area. So if you can get a chance to go, if you do go to Detroit, I recommend the. I'm trying to remember what the name of the hotel was that I stayed in over there. It was actually not hard getting around, but I also had my GPS on my phone, so it made things a whole lot easier. I will be posting clips from the concert on my Out and About blog, which is outandabout66.wordpress.com, along with festival pictures, festival slideshow. I think I'm going to go ahead and post the clips of the fireworks, even though, most of us have seen fireworks before, but it was actually a pretty good fireworks show as well. So anyway, this is my review. I will be posting. I wound up getting a whole lot of topics off of social media this week, so I'll be posting quite a bit. But this is my review for the festival. I had talked about it on Station Head on my radio show, Eclectic Weekends, and said, you know what, I am gonna go, and I'm glad I went. I had a pretty, rough week, so I needed a little bit of live music in my life this week. I needed to get me a fix. So I'm happy. And once again, Diana Ross is going to be in Ohio. I think she's going to be in Toledo. When I get that information, I will be posting that on Out and About as well. I'm unsure as to whether or not I'm going to go, but if I go, I probably will be announcing that as well. So I will talk to you guys later. You have a good Sunday. By the time I post this and you see it, it'll already be Sunday. Enjoy your church service if you are in a good church. Try to get a good word. Try to apply the word in your life. Try to lift everybody up in prayer. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I know the 4th was a pretty active day for a whole lot of disasters going down. Keep the people in California lifted up with all the earthquakes and everything on the West Coast. And everybody else. I think there's been a couple of mass shootings here recently. I just saw on the on Facebook where what is his name? A billionaire. I have to get a hold of his name, but just got busted or is being arraigned or being tried for child sex trafficking. So, keep the victims lifted up. When stuff like this go down, keep the victim. When you hear about people harming kids and they have victims, keep the victims lifted up, because it is not easy to have to stand up to somebody that has hurt you, especially if the person is wealthy and powerful. It could be very difficult. One of the blogs I'm going to do about is on that subject and everything. People don't understand how hard it is for victims to come forward. And I always hear the same thing every time somebody's busted, and that is, why did it take them so long to come forward? It's hard to come forward when it's not a famous person. It's hard to come forward when it's family. It's hard to come forward. It's just hard to come forward. And the number one reason why a lot of victims have a difficult time coming forward is because fear of not being believed. So believe people before you don't believe them. Believe them until you have a reason not to believe them. Unless you know that there's absolutely no way the perp could do it. We have to be very, we just live in a day and age where the stuff that used to apply when it comes to abuse no longer applies. We have to really, 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 be on the offense. If you're a football fan like I am, that offense is better than defense pretty much. The best defense is a good offense. Run the ball. Do what you have to do. Pray, ask God, do whatever you have to do But like I said, in this case here, I'm trying to remember. The guy's name left me just as soon as I got started recording. But he's guilty of this trafficking and everything. Remember, the victims, they go through a lot. It's a lot of torture that goes into and since we're talking about people underage, it's really bad. So, like I said, just lift everything that you heard about in the news. Try to get in the habit of being a good intercessor for the stuff that you hear about in the news. You just never know that God may just be allowing you to see it so that you can pray about it. Anyway, I'm signing off. So you guys have a good weekend, a good rest of the weekend, and and I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.